You are listening to the new man beyond the macho jerk and the new age wimp. Your host is men's coach Tripp Lanier.
Are you and your main squeeze lovers or just roommates? Is being lovers a priority or an afterthought? And what puts the brakes on your sex life? Today, Alyson and I talk about the roles we play in our relationships. I'm talking about being roommates, business partners, co-parents, buddies, and how these roles kill our sex life. We also discuss ways to put our relationship problems into perspective so that we can identify what is truly a deal breaker.
La la la, la la la. Remember how he does that? I'm drinking scotch. Uh-oh.
Scotch.
Scotch. That was a great movie. Excuse me.
Is your...
Please don't keep that in.
I totally won't keep that.
Please do not.
That's embarrassing for everybody. That was...
No, please, seriously, I don't want that.
Any single women that want to talk to, send me your... I might be looking. So.
Oh, man.
Well, I think that'll feed into some of the things we're talking about today.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, what are we doing here? So, I don't think we've done a talk about this yet. I came to you, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago and asked him if we'd done this podcast yet on these types of basically categorizing trouble that comes up with couples. When I work with certain couples, the problems that they present are problems that through the lens that they look through are this, I don't know if I can do this. This might be a deal breaker. This is totally ruining I don't think I can be in a relationship with this person.
Being some kind
whatever
of
the problem is.
Okay.
And so for some people, it's like managing money and how that happens, the flow of what systems need to be in place in order for money to get managed in a way that has everybody feeling like there's safety.
Right.
I had a couple that was building a house, and they were building the house, and so that's a huge undertaking to take on as a couple. It's a project. So point being is that long ago, I don't know what it was that we were going through. I don't remember the circumstance, but long ago, I was coming to you about this is not cool, or oh my gosh, and how's this going to impact us? It might have even been talking about doing work together. I know you're sitting over there get to the point. But
that would be an assumption.
It is based on the look you're giving me. You stopped whatever I was kind of going, whatever road I was doing my assumptions, and you helped me and stopped me by saying, look, there's roommate problems, there's business partner problems, and there's relationship partner problems. Relationship problems. I don't remember how you said it. You can say it.
All right. Well, let me see if I'm catching what you're throwing out here. That you when you work with couples, and I work with when I'm working with guys, they can come to me with oh my gosh, my partner's doing ABC, and I don't know if this is working. Is this a deal breaker? Does this mean that we're not going to make it? Does this mean that I'm with the wrong person and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And it helps to start to separate and just say, well, what kind of a problem is it? Which bucket does it fit in? And so a roommate problem is my partner leaves the dishes in the sink or won't clean up or won't do this thing. And I don't know if I can live with this person. Does this mean I'm with the wrong person, that I shouldn't be with this person? This person should be my partner in life, and that can happen. It's just I'm getting pissed off and this person activates me and I don't know if I want to be in a partnership with them.
Well, and yes. And the thing that creating these categories, the thing that I want to talk about today is what's helpful about creating these categories? Why is it helpful? Because when my people present to me what they're presenting to me, they're presenting in the way of like, this person isn't managing money, our money, and therefore I feel unsafe. I feel like I don't have a true partner in this relationship because they're always undercutting what we're trying to get to.
Right.
Like a shared goal, or like we're trying to build a house and this person isn't doing anything to help build the house. And so now I'm carrying it all and I feel like I have to do it all and now I'm unsupported. And so it bleeds into their experience of how they're in relationship with that person.
Okay. Let's map things out, because what is happening here is that for all of these relationships, there is I'm just going to call it the lover relationship. And I like the word lover because it seems to include sex.
Lover.
Right?
Gonna be your lover.
So there's sex involved, right? And so there's things that we do with one another or to one another that are going to essentially kind of stoke that fire or kill that fire, put it out. And so I like that word because we can essentially go through the day and be like, when my partner does ABC, I notice myself I'm like, I don't really want to be closer to this person. Or they do XYZ and it's like, I feel more drawn to them. I want to be more involved with them. And so, how many roles are we playing with our lovers these days?
Particularly in the last 2 years with COVID. I mean,
it's just like we got roommates, right? It's just like we're in the same house together, and it's like I got to see your stuff, you got to see my stuff. You mainly see your stuff everywhere, but
Thank you for that little plug.
and then there could be business partner stuff going on that would impact the relationship. You and I are very conscious of that, and we're also very wary of doing a lot together in terms of our businesses, because it does impact how we are with each other in terms of being lovers. And then there's how we parent our child together. That impacts how we are lovers. So it's just, I want to keep, if there's a wheel here, at the center is the relationship of being lovers. And then all of these other secondary identities or roles or partnerships are on the outside of that. And so how are these external or outside partnerships influencing that lover one? And the thing that I've chosen, the things that you and I have chosen, that we are going to be lovers first and foremost. And that's really key. Because I don't think I see a lot of other folks in relationships, and I don't think they've chosen that. I think they've chosen to be business partners first and foremost. They may share a business together, and that's where their time and energy goes. And so being lovers is like, what? Oh, I guess on our anniversary, we go have a nice dinner or something, then we try to force sex on each other. It's like, it's an afterthought.
Well, and I appreciate the, prioritizing through like, how do we behave? I think that could be unpacked. Like, so what does that look like when you prioritize being lovers first? I would have used the word relationship first over business or
there are relationships.
Especially because this shit needs to happen. Like, trash needs to be taken to the curb, and kids need to be fed, and bills need to be paid, and like house needs to be cleaned. Like, there are very real life gets in the way of lovership type stuff. Right. And so, and what I know is that in our sort of brains and our nervous systems is we have like a gas pedal and a brake pedal. This is Emily Nagoski's work, the woman that I wanted you to interview because I love her. But the whole gas pedal, brake pedal thing. And if there's a laundry list of things to do that aren't done, then the brakes are put on for the lovership. Mm-hmm. Like it's automatic. It's not even like I'm trying to turn away from, a intimate, moment or whatever. It's like, I got shit to do. Right. And so that's where whatever that image is. What are that image where the circles over?
Yin yang?
No. There's like 3 of them, and then there's like a sweet spot in the middle.
Oh, a Venn diagram.
Venn diagram, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that.
Okay. Just before I forget, like, it starts to help us when we see that how complex our relationships are with the people that we love. And let's imagine that the lover dynamic is not being nurtured. it helps us see why we would fantasize or be drawn to somebody outside of that relationship, because we may not share so many roles with that person. We can just be lovers with that person. That person can identify as that instead of here's my tired partner who doesn't really pay attention to me anymore, and we only really talk about the finances, or we only talk about this and that. There's like, I still want to be a lover, and I still want to have a lover, and I do that. Or it's also vacation. Like when we go to a vacation, we go to this place and it's like, oh my God, it's amazing here. We should move here. It's like, well, it's because all of your other roles and responsibilities haven't shown up here. You don't have an identity with that stuff.
And that's so important. I want to underline that, because this is how affairs happen. This is how affairs happen for the last 30 years, when people come into my office or therapy and they're like, oh my God, I just totally love him and I can't have this life with him. My husband, I have to go be affairical with this other person because they bring me alive. And it's like, you're still you. You're still bringing what's in you. You're just cutting out the other shit.
Right.
And they always target the human. Like, no, it's them that I have to cut out. And that's not necessarily true.
But I think there's good. I think in this, though, it's good information to be like, if I'm drawn to this other person, I'm drawn to this other dynamic, I'm wanting this dynamic in my life.
Yes.
I'm wanting to have a lover, and I'm not feeling like I can have that with my current partner.
Yeah.
So what's in the way? And it's probably, all of these other roles that we've got going on, is that we've neglected the lover role. But then there's also a piece where there's probably things to clean up.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff that's been hurt. Like you said, with the money stuff, there's been, who knows what other things, but it's like, I'm not going to be drawn to a lover if I feel like I can't trust them, or they don't, they just have criticisms for me, or whatever it is. And so again, we're back to, what am I doing to feed that lover relationship? And then being willing to take a look at some of the things and say, you know what, us being business partners, or us being partners building this house, is not a good idea. And maybe we shouldn't do that.
And that's where I think what I see, the reason why I wanted to break this into categories and really talk about trying to categorically try to like separate these things, is because a lot of people that come to me that I work with, when they're in the, oh my God, we're going to build a house, it's going to be so great, and everybody's excited about the vision. Mm-hmm. But when the reality comes into play, all the fallout starts to happen. But the vision held, this is how we're going to be partners. Like, this is going to be an expression of our partnering, of our lovership. And they don't even think about sex necessarily, or that sort of intimacy, even non-intercourse intimacy that can happen in lovership. But that it's like the expression of doing something together, shoulder to shoulder, side by side, is an expression of our lovership, of our relationship.
Could be. And then there's the process. There's actually navigating the process, the day-to-day stuff. And it's like, we get on each other's nerves here. Yeah. You step on me. It's just like, I don't appreciate how you treat me in this situation because you've got such a strong opinion. That's the brake pedal. I don't want to be close to you anymore. I don't want to be in this place with you anymore. And so I think that's the thing, is to keep an eye on, what roles are we playing? List them out. Right? So we're roommates, first and foremost. Yeah, I'd have a problem, even if it wasn't you, I'd have a problem if anybody living in my space did ABC. So it's not personal to you. It doesn't mean that you're the wrong lover for me. It just means that you're a shitty roommate. And there's some relief in that. It's like, I'm not with the wrong person. We're just not very good roommates. And I would have this problem with anybody. And I think there's just like I can exhale here. I'm not trapped. I'm not trapped with the wrong person, kind of thing.
Right. And that's important, because let's go with that for a minute with the roommate thing. I feel like we're going like 60 miles an hour, but with the roommate thing, we just jumped to like a roommate issue. Like, let's list it out. Would I have a problem with anybody with what's happening here? Like, if I took the human that's standing in front of me out of the picture and I just listed the issues, would I be having a problem with this no matter what? Likely the answer is yes, because that's why we have problems with things. It's like, it gets under our skin. We have a trigger there. But and so the question is like, so this person is doing this. It's them that's doing it. And it's roommate stuff. I can't hire somebody. Like a business problems are so easy because you can often get help for that in some way, shape, or form, or some automated system can kind of come in and save the day. But with roommate problems, it's not necessarily the case. People want to just swap out humans so they can have a different behavior in the house. But what happens when those behaviors are there? Like they're there. If they're going to choose to be with this person, these behaviors are there.
Yeah, those behaviors are there. And I think it comes back to, at least for me, we have roommate issues, you and I. And
what are you talking about?
we have some roommate issues.
What are you talking about?
And it's easy for me if I'm unconscious to want to get onto my rants like, oh damn it, you're doing this and why she always good. You know, it's like as if we're this far in and you're gonna change. You're not. This is it.
What?
And so I have a choice. I can live with this stuff. I've made my request. There's things that we've done, but at the end of the day, what's more important to me is that we're lovers. And that we have that part of our relationship thriving. And so I may make certain really firm requests like, look, when you do this, it really kills ABC for me. And it just doesn't work. Can we do something else here? Mm-hmm. And I think when I frame it in that place, you don't hear my nagging roommate. You hear me as a lover.
Yeah.
You hear me as like, hey, look, this is really important for us.
I'm able to have compassion for your experience instead of you just being judgy.
Right. You know,
like
just kind of
wanting to have things the way you want them.
The right way, right?
Exactly. Precisely.
That's a total joke, but it's true. So
it's an ongoing joke in this house.
Ongoing every day.
Because of your stance of it being true.
But let's talk about money stuff, right? So money comes up, and money can trigger it will trigger the shit out of us. It's just going to trigger the stuff because money means so many different things. For some, it's security. For some, it's freedom. It's like, I have my money so I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm not sure as hell not going to partner with you. I'm not going to give you the reins and let you say what I can and can't do financially.
Well, that's control.
It's control, right? So it's a place where how does that impact our relationship as lovers? And you might need to redefine that. You might need to say, look, how do we structure our finances in such a way so that we don't feel hemmed in? I don't feel scared of your behavior, and you also don't feel controlled by mine. So let's get some help here. Let's figure this out and how we can navigate this financial piece so that I'm not worried about it. If you were my mistress, I wouldn't be worried about you getting into my bank account.
And so most couples don't have the skill set or the language to even have that conversation.
Exactly.
So what do you recommend? Do you recommend them calling up somebody like you that can help mediate that kind of conversation?
Well, I think we can get into the what to do later on, but I want to just start to specify is to start to track the places where there's a rub. So list the frustration. Where am I frustrated with my partner? Is it finances? Mm-hmm. Is it roommate stuff? Is it communication or lack of communication? What is impacting your ability to feel drawn to your partner? If there was a time when you felt drawn to your partner and now you feel resentment or now you feel distance or you feel numb or like whatever that thing is, mm-hmm. Do you want to make it work? Right? Do you want to make it work? If not, my sense is that most of the people we're talking to do want to make it work and things are actually pretty okay. They're not in this place where they're underwater and it's a lost cause. But you've got to look.
Well, I'm thinking. I think that shouldn't be overlooked. The question: do I want to make this work? Because when people come to me, like the couples, the circumstances that I'm sharing just a tiny bit of here is that when they're in a safe space with me. And they might not say this to their partner because they're actually unpacking, do I actually want to make this work or not? They're not going to take that to their partner yet. But there is the question of like, I don't think I can do this. I don't. And there's the initial sort of gut punch of mm-hmm. like the reactivity of, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this. This is making my life hard, or I don't feel supported and I just want support, or I want to feel that from this person, and so there's that initial sort of reactivity. But I think that there's a place to really have your reactivity, but then also ask yourself that question in earnest.
Well, I think
because
there's some
the reactivity
conditions.
is, I don't want to be with, I know, fuck you. I don't want to be with this. Like, I don't want to be with you. I'm not doing this. That's the initial reactivity.
Right. And it might be, I don't want to be with how I feel when you do the financial thing, or I don't want to be with how I feel when we're talking about the business, or I don't
cleaning up your messes. Like, I don't want to clean up your financial messes or your house messes or whatever it is. Like, I don't want to be that person to do that. I don't like the way that we have things, and I've asked you to do it differently. I'm thinking of a financial situation where one member of the relationship basically had to, clean up the other members, like that one does the business and one does the householding, but the householder is essentially the accountant because the business person just works and works and works and doesn't do any money stuff. And so, but for months she had to clean up because the system that she asked him to put into play, he did not put into play. And so then when it was time to come correct with the tax people, it was like, oh my God, huge headaches, long hours. Mm-hmm. And so that causes a reactivity. And then there's also this piece around I don't want to do this with you anymore. Mm-hmm.
I think that's important to get to the core of it. Like, do I still love this person? Would I still want to be lovers if we didn't have to deal with ABC? And ABC is a reality. Okay. I'm not saying that we're going to stick our head in the sand here.
That's what I wanted to, that's the question, I think. Would we still want to be lovers? Say that again.
Would we still want to be lovers if this thing wasn't going on? If we didn't have to deal with this tax thing, or we didn't have to deal with the house thing, or we didn't have to deal with, the disagreements we have about parenting our child. Okay. And so it's coming back to that. And you might find that just at this stage of the game, you're not into it. You really don't. Like that there's an arc to relationships, and maybe that arc has finished, and it's okay. Right. But own that, be healthy about it, and realize I don't want to fight for that.
Right. And I think I just want to underline that. It's such an essential conversation to have with yourself.
Right.
And that conversation, I think you get to that conversation by doing this, where's the impact? Is it in this category, or this category? And really holding that lovership kind of paramount. Like, this is the sort of peak of our, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is the foundation of our hierarchy of needs. And so.
And when you understand that that's what's most important, then you're like, then let's get this other thing out of the way, because it's going to kill everything. We're on divorce track now.
Right.
Because we don't have an accountant. We don't have a bookkeeper. It's like, go get a freaking bookkeeper.
Yeah. Because
so you're not
this is a
pissed
fucking
off.
deal breaker for my safety, and I can't open to you sexually or intimacy wise or fucking relax. If I know that we've got all this shit coming down the pike and we're about to get audited or whatever, and there's we're a mess.
Right. But usually what's happening is I can do it myself. I'll just do it myself. I don't really want to spend the money on a bookkeeper. And it's like, but look at the impact it's having.
Yeah. That's another, do that other thing that you do so well, where you do the cost benefit analysis stuff.
Well, look at it, right? It's like, just because you can do something in the relationship, you could be the business partner. You and I could be much more business partners. We could be doing more stuff.
We could rock the couple thing.
Right. But I think we drive each other nuts.
Oh, hell yeah.
You would drive me more nuts than I would drive.
Oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah. It would be really bad for yeah. It's not worth it. It's like, we could totally do that. And maybe there's times down the road where we'll do something, but the idea is that I'd rather not have that dynamic that we have to navigate on top of being parents, on top of being, roommates and having the home that we have. So I think it's to come back to, even though we could do it, does that mean that we should? Is there a cost to that? How does it impact our ability to be lovers? I'd rather miss you and be drawn to you and want to come to you at the end of the day and be like, how are you? What's going on? Let's go have some fun. Instead of oh, this bitch, I got to fucking see her more. I've been with her all day, and she screwed up the bookkeeping today, and now I got to deal with that kind of stuff. I was like, get a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Offload that stuff so you could go be pissed at your bookkeeper and not your wife.
Yeah. The only other thing that I want to point to, I want to say specifically to the people that I work with, that hopefully will listen to this. Listen to the places in yourself as you hear Tripp saying this. when you think, no, I can't. Like, it has to be this way. Like sort of the trapped mentality of like, no, it's too much of a mess. There's no way a bookkeeper, like we don't have time. It's too late. The bookkeeper would never be able to catch up. Like, right.
You know what's a huge pain in the ass
like,
is a divorce.
Yeah. There's no contractors
the
available. It's up to me. Like nobody's available.
Well, it's victimhood stuff. That's poor me and it's all on me and I have to save the world. Like I'm helpless. Nobody can help me. Yeah. So challenge that idea.
And what would you say if the partner is actually just their way of being? So let's say somebody wants more emotional intelligence and presence and appreciation, and their partner doesn't actually have those skills.
I think that this is where I think it's good to bring this up, because there are aspects of this that don't fit into the roommate bucket or the business partner bucket or the co-parent partner.
I think that's the lover.
Now we're in the lover domain, right? And it is like, can we be lovers here, right? I mean, I've coached guys that their partner is a flat out narcissist. Like there is no room for anybody else other than her.
Yeah.
And they're stuck in that dynamic and they're starting to wake up to it and be like, this doesn't feel like a relationship.
They name streets after you.
I don't actually get to have what I want, and it's always about you. It's always, and it's like, I think it's healthy to wake up to that. It's healthy to propose things. Hey, do you think we could be ABC? And then their partner flips out and be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's right.
This is about me.
That would make me uncomfortable and have me change the thing that makes me awesome.
Right. So I like that you're bringing this up. And I think it's that willingness to zoom out and say, I want to have a lover, bottom line, period. Like I'm committed to that in my life and I'm going to live my way. I'm going to live my life in that way now. Why do I say that? It's because most of us are waiting. We're going to wait until we find the right person.
Or until the bills are paid or until like the kitchen's cleaned up. Or
well, my point being is that they're kind of meeting their partner at that same level of the same altitude level. Well, this is where my partner is. This is what they kind of hang out as. They're unconscious and, you know, they drink 4 nights a week and they do ABC and they just kind of hide in their phone and screen all the time. So I'm just going to kind of meet them there. And it's like, or what happens when you start to live your life more aligned with where you want to have a lover meet you? And you start to take those steps, but you create an invitation instead of the ultimatum. You better meet me here. You better be this kind of lover for me. It's, what if you did? What if, hey, would you be open to meeting me here? Would you be open to doing less of that and more of this more often? And what we do is we're committing to the relationship that we want now instead of waiting until we find the perfect partner. And I think what we do, the tendency though, is that we mold ourselves to fit with the person that we're with instead of, I want to live more in alignment with how the relationship that I ultimately want. I'm going to start that now. And a lot of times partners will wake up to us like, this is great. This is a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm glad to get out of the rut.
Where it's actually breaks through the glass ceiling.
Right. But it also will challenge the other partner. Some partners just be like, this isn't for me.
Well, I want to talk about that for a minute, because we're kind of winding around through the whole lover piece and conversation. And here's one of the things I hear you get a lot. I actually hear it from you, which is what drives some of these podcasts, actually, from my perspective, which is what you just named is a very sort of pragmatic, grounded, make your request, meet your challenges kind of approach. Okay. And when we were talking about roommate problems, you were essentially internally evaluating, you kind of had a decision tree going on in your brain around like, what's more important to me to cultivate this lovership here? Or do I want to get nitpicky with the relationship? And you made a choice between coming after me as a critic and judginess, or tending to yourself in some kind of way, working with yourself in some kind of way where you kind of relax around the issue. And the reason I'm asking this is because this is kind of what happens. Like it gets tangled for people. They don't know what category they're in. And there is a bit of a decision tree, I think, that can happen, which is like, what's the most important thing? And so the things that you do your podcast, a lot of podcasting on, or that I think you've done a lot of podcasting on, is like, well, I want them to change, right? Like I can't get them to change, and I'm doing all this personal development and I'm doing all this stuff, and I really want them to be my lover and my partner in it. Mm-hmm. But they're not into personal development. They don't care. And so there's that place, that tension that shows up around like, I'm doing all this personal growth. It happens all the time with my ancestral medicine stuff. Clients, they do all this healing, they bring in all this wellness, and they're like, oh shit, I'm still in an old system that wasn't decidedly well. And now there's a lot of tension there. Mm-hmm. And my partner could care less about what I've been up to here. So what is the work in me and how I want to be with them? Or is the work in making the requests or the challenges to invite them,
I think it's a both thing. I think it's practical, right? So on the roommate level, we made some, I want to be really clear, like I'm not walking around fuming all day about stuff. We've made some things where we've made some decisions, we've had some choices, and we found a good happy medium. Yeah. Okay. True. And there are things where there might be an activation in me and like, God damn. And then there's like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth, ruining the dynamic that is playful and whatever? And there's times where it's like, no, this is important. I want to speak up. And then there's other times where it's just like, no, let it go. And chances are my nitpickiness is rooted in some other dissatisfaction that I'm having in my day or with you even that I haven't spoken up about. But now the thing on the floor is my chance to be pissed off at you. Right. Okay. So the lovership thing, coming back to, I'm not on the same page with my lover about the way that I want to live my life. I think it is like, go do the things that you want to do and create that invitation instead of the pressure, right? My partner doesn't want to work out. I've lost 20 pounds. My partner still hasn't and is doing the certain lifestyle things. Well, go be happier. Go live your life happier and always just like, hey, I love you and you're always welcome and I would love to have you. But I'm going to go.
So what are you saying? Go leave them until they get skinny?
No. I'm saying like, go do the events. If you like the fitness events, go do your Spartan races or whatever it is that you're into doing. Let that person know that you still love them and you'd still, like, if they ever want to do something, great. But they're on their own path. I can't remember who I was talking to the other day, and I think it was a client, and like he's been badgering his wife about some personal growth ideas, but then I don't know, Gwyneth Paltrow says something and the wife's like, I heard Gwyneth say XYZ. And I'm just like, he's like, God damn it, I've been telling you for 2 years. Like, who cares? Yeah. She's learning. Who cares? It's hitting for her now. Right. So let go of it needing to be you. Foster her desire and her curiosity, support it. Let go that you needed to be right. The whole time. But I think that all we can do is create that invitation. I think we'll see whether somebody really wants to go or not. And then you can really feel it. Like, are we really on the same page anymore? Or has that arc reached, have we reached this into this chapter? Mm-hmm. That's a tough question. I think there's a lot of work to do there. But ultimately, I don't think it's good to build resentment by playing small or holding ourselves back from the life that we ultimately want.
Or build resentment by expecting the other person to want and behave precisely the way we want and behave. Yeah. Like that is its own narcissistic bubble that happens all the time with partners.
And especially happens in the personal growth space because we read the book and there's scientific data to show that XYZ makes us much better and happier and healthier. Totally. So we feel self-righteous. It's like, why wouldn't you do this stuff?
Right. Totally.
And the partner's like, screw you. And they actually double down and they are even more embedded in their habits and stuff that they want to do.
Yeah.
So it is about just coming back and being like, look, I love you and would love to have you. If you want to join me, great. If not, it's okay. But I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go do ABC and would love to have you. And see if that just might be their thing. Like there are things in my life that I love to do and I'm deeply passionate about, but I don't want you there with me.
Totally.
I think it's good for me to have those things, to have that separation. I don't want
to be there with you. I want you to go do them without me.
Right. So there's a healthy polarity there. And I think for some that we just want to know that we're appreciated there, that our partner gets it or supports it instead of making snide comments about it. But I don't know if we're meant to wear the same outfits and go to Walmart at 9 a.m. every Saturday and do everything together and all of that stuff. Go have your own fucking life and then see if enriching your life draws you to your partner again.
Yeah. I mean, and that actually is a whole nother piece where going and enriching your life is actually if we've talked about this in other podcasts before, it's a gift to, instead of like, oh, let's see if I want to be with you again. That's actually kind of coming through a lens that doesn't sit well with me. It's more like, I have more of me to share with you. And it would be awesome if you can be present for that and listen and look in my eyes for that and like receive some impact. If not, then I get to deal with how that might hurt or feel. But instead of the lens of like, let's see if I want to be with you, it's like, oh my God, let me just tell you, I'm so excited about this thing. I just learned this. This learning is so cool. Like for me, it's always learning something. I love to learn. And for you, often it's like an experience that you're having or what, you going and doing something or with music or whatever, or racing or whatever. So the place where I get to know you and get to really enjoy you is not necessarily holding your hand while you're making the song or whatever it is, but it's like how you feel on the other side of doing that thing that really serves you.
I think this is where it's important to come back to what's the purpose of the relationship. And I've talked about this before, but this essentially, this is in the book that I wrote. This book will make you dangerous, but it is really just understanding what is the purpose of what we're doing. Why are we doing what we're doing? So if the purpose of my relationship is to have me feel comfortable all the time, to have me feel safe all the time, to have me feel accepted all the time, then I'm going to be threatened when my partner does anything that jeopardizes my comfort or sense of safety or sense of acceptance. So me going and doing something outside of my comfort zone, my partner being interested in something that doesn't involve me, right? My partner, being drawn to XYZ and I'm not that thing and I feel less than, or I don't feel as attractive. No, let's keep you here. I don't want you moving out. The other part of this, and I think we've implied this during our conversation, which is, do I have a partner? Do I have somebody that supports me in allowing greater freedom, aliveness, love, and peace of mind? And that may mean that I let my partner, or I don't let my partner, I encourage my partner to go do things that are maybe a bit out of our comfort zone. I'm not saying they're deal breakers or they're going to wreck our relationship, but I expect there's going to be some discomfort from time to time just because we're going into new avenues. I expect that we're going to go into places that feel a little uncertain and a little shaky. Well, what's going to happen? I don't really know, but can we hold hands? Can we be side by side in this? Oh, I expect there's going to be places where I'm not really sure where I fit in your life anymore. Do you still love me? If I were to tell you I was really into ABC, I was really into these learnings and I was really into that kind of stuff. So I expect to be uncomfortable from time to time. I expect to be a little uncertain, maybe even a little unsafe from time to time. I expect to be a little shaky, like, I don't know if you're going to love me here, if you knew this about me here. And that expectation of those things is what opens the door for us to have that freedom, aliveness, love, and peace. And the thing I want to just say is we had an experience recently where we were talking about something that would allow more aliveness into our lives. And knowing you were on the same page with me and knowing that you were totally supportive in that just had me, I felt devotional. I was like, I fucking love this woman. And I've been with you for, I don't know how many years now. And it's just like, fuck yeah, ride or die. Like, I just really felt that, which was a lot different than like, are you sure you want to do that? Because that sounds uncomfortable. I don't know if we should do that. It's like this, like, I don't think so. I think you should just, blah, blah, blah. Let's just watch Netflix. I loved having your support there in something that was deeply important to me and knowing that you were on board with the same thing. And I was like, fuck, that feels great.
Yeah. And I think you're jumping. I think you're a little bit further ahead than I want. I think we need to like slow down for just a minute. I think that's awesome that you brought that in because that's true. And that can definitely happen with people. The thing that I wanted to name, there's a process with that, which is like, yes, go do those things. And that might cause discomfort. Can we be with that discomfort? And I think what that causes with it, what you were talking about, like staying on the couch and just watching Netflix, right? Like what we're avoiding there is distance. Like we get into some type of stasis with the way things are, the dynamics, even if we don't like them, we get into a type of stasis there. And so that discomfort can even be like, not only are you going to try something new or dive deeper into this thing that you say that you're into, or just go try it for the fact that you've done nothing but not try. But that might create distance between us. And the process, I think, of particularly tending to the lovership is the circling back. Mm-hmm. So what I was saying around like, yeah, it's really cool that you go do these things. I don't care about him to go do them. Like, great. But it's the gift that you give when you bring that back to us, how you feel on the other side of that experience.
And it's the knowing I'm coming back.
It's the which also doesn't, I mean, that discomfort is actually the hindrance because we're not sure. And that's real. I think that's really real with couples that have been so kind of entangled with these categorically different problems, and they're all tangled up with each other. When there's I need to like break away and do something really different because I'm feeling trapped here or drained here or overwhelmed here, then there is a like departure. Right. I mean, there's a real and the behavior is the act is the act of departing, and the felt impact is the act of being departed from. And so there is a real discomfort, and there are many times where you actually don't know if they're coming back.
Right.
You don't know. And
it doesn't have to be a big deal. I see this with like, my wife would never let me go away for a weekend surf contest or something. It's like, what are you, 12?
Yeah.
You know? But there's that, the life gets more and more confined.
Yeah.
Because we get more and more committed to comfort. And so we just actually get more and more fragile and rigid as a result. So I think what we're speaking to is learning how to create a little bit of discomfort from time to time, but it also is what has us feel more free.
But but not without having the conversation of the deeper why. What are the deeper needs here? Because
I'm not doing this to get away from you.
If that conversation isn't happening, then you don't have the navigational map for what is actually happening in the room. It's like, I just see fighting happening. It'd be like looking through the lens of a 12-year-old. It's like, we're just fighting and I don't like it. We're going to break up. You know, it's like that instead of like, oh shit, here's the tension part of the hero's journey.
All right. I think there's a rough framework that we can start to throw out here and play with this. But first, it's all about communication. You can't do this with assumptions. You can't do this assuming that your partner is not going to be okay with something, and you need to hide something for somebody. That's the norm, and it sucks. It's a terrible place to create relationship. But what if you knew your partner was on the same page with you, and that person also wanted to feel more free, wanted more aliveness in their life, wanted more real deep love and connection, not just time together, but actually feeling really connected.
Yeah.
Because I think people mistake time for connection.
Right.
But you could be side by side looking at your freaking device all day.
Totally.
And then where's that peace of mind, right? So if we're tired of feeling trapped or drained or isolated, even within our own house, or bored or overwhelmed, those are all doorways into freedom, aliveness, love, and peace. Now, what if we knew our partner was on the same page? Hey, would you like to have more freedom, aliveness, love, and peace? Well, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Do we understand that might mean it's going to challenge our commitment to always being comfortable, always being certain, always feeling accepted, or always feeling, like unjudged?
That we're in when we're tired.
Right. So that might be like, hey, we're on the same page here. We want the same things. Ultimately, we want the same experiences. Ultimately, it means that we're going to expect to go into places that feel uncomfortable, feel a little uncertain, feel a little like, well, are you still going to love me if you knew this about me, or if I was into that? It's like, okay, we're going to go into those areas. It's going to be challenging for each of us. And then that's where you have a structure. You have somebody you work with, or you have some way that you're communicating these things and say, hey, this would be in service of greater freedom and aliveness for me. I'd like to do this with you. It's an invitation, or I'd like to do this on my own. Let's talk about how it's going to impact you. Let's talk about what it's going to bring up for you. How can we mitigate that? Instead of just shutting it down, and starting to slowly, step by step, move into that place, but always coming back to, hey, we're doing this in service of freedom, aliveness, love, and peace, and we're not just going to clamp everything down and shut it down whenever we feel uncomfortable or uncertain. But that is, it really is like just slowing things way down and saying, yeah, I want that for you too. I don't want you to feel like you're in jail in this relationship, whether we're business partners or we're lovers or whatever it is, right? So it's about coming back and saying, well, let's find that expansion, that place of strength. And like I said to you a minute ago, it's like, that's where I feel devotional. That's where I was like, I'm not going anywhere because I freaking love being here.
Yeah, because you were having that conversation in your mind beforehand.
What?
Should I of like not wanting to be here, of going someplace?
No, but it was another level, right? It's like I think that's what I've experienced with you over the years. Early on, I was like, yeah, man, I really love this woman, and then, geez, what was it on our honeymoon? Where no, it wasn't our honeymoon. It was after our honeymoon, where I was
when you
we're in Hawaii,
and ran away, and you wouldn't come home when I had to come get you. Are you talking about then?
No,
no. Not then?
I didn't. I think you're thinking of another situation, but
okay.
I was in Hawaii and I was all pissed off. I was pissed off that I got married.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the same time.
That was it?
Yeah.
I didn't run away.
Like 3 weeks in, I was like, what's going on?
No. I was in California that time. No. You flew out. We had it on the books.
Right,
So you were going to fly out.
Move on.
But I remember just being so clamped down. And the thing that I couldn't be with was my own anger. That there was a part of me, not all of me, but there was a part of me. It was like, you got freaking married? Are you idiot?
Are you nuts?
You nuts? Yeah. And I was pissed, and I couldn't be pissed. I wasn't okay to be pissed. So I was all just emotionally constipated.
Bundle.
And you were just willing to be there with me and talk to me. And you were like, I'm not afraid of your anger. And I remember just being like, wow, I can't be with this part of me, but you can. And it was like, boom, to another level. I was like, wow, I really love this woman.
Does anybody know about Stain? Stain is Tripp's nickname from college. And this is a very much a alter ego or a persona, a part that is strong, that was really strong in him. Definitely hyper independent and do what I want. Very adolescent, like I'm a motherfucker, don't get in my way. And Stain was really pissed off about the idea of getting married and being partnered with somebody. Like the rest of you, all your other parts were so on board with me. And then Stain was like, what the fuck is happening? Where's going to be a life and my party? And all of that. And I remember in the ground floor of the Yellow Pine house in Boulder, I was like,
my foot's going through the brake pedal through the floor right now.
Oh my God. Is that, do you want me to stop talking right now? Is that what you're saying?
You are enjoying it. So go ahead.
No, but what I'm saying is that it's not a one-off. The concept of you also, this one of you also, is welcome here, and demand that all of you show up, and that it's not just a one-off experience, that it's actually a woven network of experiences. It's a number of experiences, brick by brick. And it might feel like you're only doing a little bit at a time with like the money issue or the roommate issue or the lover issue or whatever it is. But it's these moments where we want to come together in service of the connection, the depth, the intimacy, the freedom, the aliveness, the love, the peace. It's not just like we're going to have this one conversation that's one and done. But it's like, what are all of the ways? Every day is an opportunity to deepen.
It is. One of the things I want to outline there, other than you just shit on me for a few minutes.
What are you talking about me shitting on you?
But
you've been looking really good. It's okay. You're allowed to have other parts that aren't so pretty show up in the podcast.
Thank you.
Besides, I don't think I shit on you. I was just naming that there was another incident where you were really pissed off at me and you didn't want me around and you thought it was all me.
Okay.
Where that showed up for you.
All right, we'll go back and listen.
What you think again.
Yeah,
I'd love to listen because I don't think that I shit on you. Where do you feel like I shit on you?
We'll talk about it later.
No,
I want to make a point. The thing here was noticing that if I can only be a lover with you as long as I am only this person, I have to cut off these other aspects of me. I'm interested in ABC, or I have passions for this and that. Like that's an indicator of, is this really the lover relationship I want to have? And what I think we all deeply want is I get to be all of me in a relationship, and I get to be loved for all of me. Not like I got to walk on eggshells. I can't reveal this part of me because essentially if I let that slip and you got to see who I really was, you wouldn't love me anymore and this whole house of cards would come down. We really want to know that this is strong. I can be all of myself. and I can still be loved and accepted here. Doesn't mean that you got to love the parts of me that were angry or self-centered or adolescent, but you can appreciate them because you have them too.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing I want to help here, because again, if I'm committed to comfort and certainty and always feeling accepted, then I'm going to be like, you need to shut that down and bury that in the basement, because I never want to see that part of you again.
Well, and that's actually the self-escalating cycle that happens with get couples into my office in the first place, is that there's one small behavior, and it's actually not a person saying, will you love me here kind of behavior. It's just some usually unconscious kind of rollout of, and then the other person, it hits their security button or their whatever trigger, and they're like, shut that shit down.
Right.
And then that starts the cycle of like, whoa, I can't be me around you.
Right. Shut that shit down means I don't love you there.
Right.
When you do that, you're not lovable.
Yeah. Which is so much of everybody's process, no matter what category we're in, is, can I be loved here?
Right. So imagine, this is how many people do we know? We've been around, even with ourselves. It's just like, oh, I'm only loved here. I know if I go into this area and I bring this up, this person's going to make a remark, or this person's going to make fun of me, or this person's going to judge me, or whatever that is. Right. This person being my lover. Oh, I don't want to be lovers with them. I don't feel safe. I don't feel accepted. But these people over here love me and accept me here. I'm drawn to that now, because that's where I want to be accepted too. Yeah. So look, it's not that I need you to be 100% on the same page with me and love it just as much as I do, but can you love me here and be like, yeah, right on. I think it's great that you have that, and that's fantastic, and I support you. I want to empower you. Like, what can we do so that you feel completely free to go explore ABC, and vice versa? Where can I get to be more of myself in this relationship, instead of feeling like I better keep that on under the lid?
And that's the last thing I want to speak to is actually a fourth couple that I saw, because this does happen as well, where the partner is saying those things. They're actually being a pretty awesome lover, but the person is kind of hung up on the business and roommate problems, so much so, and that they're not able to kind of yield into them actually responding as a lover.
So wait a second. The person that is a good lover,
like, they're saying all of those. They're like, yes, bring more of what you need and what you want, and yes, more aliveness.
But more. Then when it comes to their business thing, what happens?
Well, no. Instead of the person yielding to that and like relaxing into that and being like, oh my God, this is awesome. Yeah, I want that for me and you too. There's like, but I still can't because X, Y, and Z still isn't awesome.
Okay, well, maybe it's not X, Y, and Z. I would say it's like, can I really be loved here? Yeah. Is it safe enough to be loved here? Let me go.
And love in return, because there's a lot of really beautiful men out there loving the shit out of their women, and the women simply do not appreciate that. Like, there's zero leaning into that.
Yeah, if we can't love or receive love, then we will find reasons. We will create a mile of hurdles for that person to get over. Yeah, I've done this. In previous relationships, and it's terrible. It's essentially being like, no, and it's my own,
never enough.
But by never enough, I get to keep you away, so I never actually have to feel the vulnerability that comes from really being seen and really being loved.
Totally.
Yeah. So I think it comes back to like, do I really want to be in a relationship with a lover and really be seen and loved? Because we might realize that I create.
I just want to play house, actually.
I just want to play house. I just want to have a business partner. I want to have all these things so I actually feel safe, because love is fucking really scary to really love somebody. Yeah. I was terrified when we were meeting each other, and I was like, oh my God, I could be just devastated if I lost this person. I don't want to ever feel devastated. Right. Let's just go play in the shallow end of the pool.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I can understand why people will be like, let's just create a lot of obstacles so that I never have to feel that vulnerable or that transparent with you. And I can keep you at arm's distance and always be dissatisfied and frustrated with you, but at least I feel safe. Yeah. And now we're back to that comfort, safety, and acceptance thing, but it's at a distance. Right. But then we always feel lonely. We always feel like we're with somebody, but we're not really connected.
And so here we are again, also with the deeper why, always coming back to the deeper why and the deeper needs. Yeah.
Okay, so come back to the frustration. If you're tired of feeling isolated, even though you're with somebody, where are you creating those obstacles, right? Take full responsibility instead of pointing the finger at the other person. Are you creating the obstacles? Are you creating some other arrangement that makes it a lot harder for that person to be your lover and to really open up?
Including like, I'm trying to help, but it's just pushing us apart.
Right.
Now I want to leave. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's a great place to start and to recognize, like, am I just really committed to always wanting to be comfortable and certain and accepted? And that, again, will keep somebody at arm's distance. And, we won't have that deep connection and that aliveness and that freedom that comes from really having that strong connection.
Cheers. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I started to have to pee like 20 minutes in.
Like, wrap it up, bingo.
If these interviews are helping you, please leave a positive review on whatever podcast app you use so that others can discover the show more easily.